This is fantastic. What a great group. We were just saying how we really, Jeannie's from Copenhagen and she's been helping us set up some of these events, and we were just saying we need a concept like this in your city, don't we, and a few other places, because it's brilliant, you know. And how does it feel watching this in here? Does it work?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And it sounds all right.
Yeah.
Because I think we set the sound up slightly differently. It wasn't actually the normal 5.1 you would do, you know. What the sound guy here does is send the stereo feed through various different speakers. And I think he probably also, do you also send the surround feed out through some of them as well? Yes, you do. So you get a sort of strange hybrid version, but it's kind of designed for this room, so hopefully that works. We had a little test beforehand and we decided that was the best way to send the audio part anyway. And then I've just been, it's a really stressful day, but we just arrived at like 15 minutes before you all came in here, so we had a very long day yesterday, 2 really great screenings in Copenhagen, and we also had a talk event in the afternoon, so, you know, the old voice. It's alright, you know, it's good fun, I'm enjoying it a lot. And so we just about got here, and I've just been doing a test up the road in the big screen there, so that'll be happening later, and you lot can come over there afterwards where we got some stuff on sale and we'll be doing more chat and everything. So
and meet and greet.
yeah, so just come over and join in.
So actually for now.
Yeah, for now.
We can start with Alan telling about how the movie came about, and then if you just do like this, I'll come over because we don't even have a mic. Usually I will be the mic girl, but I'm going to do like this. And then you can just, you know, one by one ask Alan the questions you want. You can pretty much ask anything, right, Alan?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes, shall we? So I haven't got that much to tell you about the film, which isn't already obvious. And I've been telling the story about how it came together. The guys at Budapest just showed up at the show and just said, look, we've got all these cameramen. I didn't even know they were going to be there. Can we film it? No obligations on your part, just, you know, see what we come up with. We'll present you with some rough edits, and if you like it, we could maybe do something with it, which I thought was a great opportunity. Why not, I thought. And so we did that. 2 years down the line, after lots of emailing and rough edits together, we managed to get this end result. And through a lot of endeavour and hard work and desire from people who just wanted to make it happen, without any real funding and support from any kind of major corporation, we managed to get it released. And now the bonus is that we were able to take it out to some cities around Europe, more than I originally intended, and show it to some people as well. So we're getting good profile, and it's all come together really nicely. It's been a lot of work too. So that's really all I've got to say about the film. I mean, the rest is obvious, as I say, and let's just take some questions, have a chat. Right. Yeah.
Hi, Alan. Welcome to Stockholm.
Thank you. Thanks.
My name is Alex. I would like to ask you, how did it feel to work with Nicole Bachmann in the beginning? What's the story and the connection?
Well, with all the various singers, they tend to come through different routes. You know, sometimes I go looking for someone specifically. I normally wait till I've got some music in place before I kind of know what kind of singer I might like. Other times people are suggested to me, and I then research and, you know, and in the case of Nicole, she actually wrote, and she had heard some of my music and just said, look, I've just done this album with Golden Palomino, it's called Dead Inside. Have a listen, and if you like that, then I think I could do something for you. And so she came to me, and I just thought, yeah, they did suit some of the music. I think at the time I had 2 or 3 tracks that I didn't know what to do with, you know, and I thought, well, these would suit spoken word or more melodic content, you know. So I gave those to her, and she, within a week, I think she presented me with loads of stuff, loads of options. So she was really up for it. Yeah.
Question here?
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder, you obviously use a lot of software synths on this concept, but you've also been a part of the digital synthesizer revolution in the 80s with all the samplers and stuff. What do you prefer, hardware synths or software synthesizers?
Well, yeah, to be honest, I'm not a big synth user actually. People have this idea I'm into synthesizing in a big way. Most of what I do is either sample groups of performance or direct recording of performance, which I then digitally manipulate. So I'm into the technology, but it's more to do with the inherent feel of those performed loops, more so than synthesizers. I mean, synthesizers play a part. I like, you know, a good sequence bass line, for example, and a few other sounds, you know, that can add to the atmosphere. The source of those sounds to me is not the most critical thing. Whatever's to hand at the time, I'll give it a go, you know. And if it's an old analog synth that's there and it serves the purpose, then that's great. You know, I like to send samples through the synth, which is what we were doing on stage, in fact, with the synth. In that case, we were sending the loops and the prepared music we had already within the laptop just through the filter section of the synths, just for a bit of you know, resonance and feedback, and that's all they were used for. And in the studio, I'd sometimes do the same thing. You know? I mean, me and Paul Kendall will send sounds through old synthesizers to get a little bit of crackle and that kind of thing. But a lot of the time, I am using also soft synths and other bits and pieces, Logic plugins and what have you, anything like that. But as I say, I'm not that technical, really. I just stick with what I know.
Questions?
Yes.
So, let me ask you.
All right.
How involved were you in the movie?
How involved was I? Well, I got more and more involved as it progressed. In other words, I just let them put together a whole rough cut of each song, and then we took it to pieces really and said, okay, this is working, that I'm not so keen about. There were initially a lot more shots of me in it, for example, which I just said, no, it's just not necessary really, because we're not doing that much, let's face it, you know. And the concept of the show was never such that it was a big performance thing. It was always a presentation to which we added elements. So I didn't want the focus to be on just two guys just standing on laptops. It's more an abstract film of the films that we use on the stage show, which, for that very reason, you know, the boring factor, I wanted to have film on the stage. And so I wanted the film of the film to be much more about that abstract show and the audience and the whole, and to create something that was not a sort of standard concert movie. So we worked on the rough cuts and the editing, went backwards and forwards, sending files to each other until we, you know, honed it in, and that's what most things is. That's it. And of course the rest of the project I've been very hands-on with, you know, in terms of packaging the artwork, everything that surrounds the project. I've basically taken control of that myself. So that's really nice.
Question in the front,
Yes.
there.
Yeah, now you did the 2010-2011 tour, and now you're kind of doing the tour with the same material.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you feel about touring now? Can we?
Well, it's getting easier and easier, isn't it? I don't even have to. I just turn up, get pissed. That's the way to tour. How do I feel about touring now? Well, for a long period, I couldn't really work out how to tour with this, and it wasn't cost effective to use film until recent years, when that's been much more affordable for everybody. Everyone's a filmmaker now, aren't they? They're iPhone or whatever. But yeah, well, I could see a way to take Rico on the road, and it kind of grew from there. We didn't intend to go on tour for 2 years nearly, on and off. But that's what happened. And once you're out there doing it, it's easier to add more. You know, it's the same with this film thing. We were just going to do a few key cities, and then other cities. As soon as you play a couple of places or do something like this in a couple of cities, you get calls from other promoters and or fans or whoever saying, "Well, we want to do a screening. Come on, let us do one." And I can't see a reason to say no. You know, I think it's great if we can get. I mean, I get a tingle every time I see my own film in a cinema. I mean, I love going to cinema. I love film. So to see your own film being projected in some wonderful cinemas we've been in so far, including the one up the road, is really exciting for me. So I'm very happy to do it.
Question over there.
Yes.
You, right there in the front.
Yeah, and how did you prepare the tracks for this live set?
Yeah, that's a
drum
good
track.
Yeah, no, actually, it's pretty much.
You're working out this online.
Yeah, but it's pretty much the bedrock of the thing is pretty much just a stereo file.
Okay.
But we put together in Logic using Ableton as well, and we took many of the remixes and worked on different sections and I tried to find a way that they would all segue together to make one kind of piece of music really that would work in a live situation.
So it's only one session.
It is really, yeah, although we have adapted it as we played more shows, we changed a few things and
Yeah.
some, obviously, you know, you think, oh, that's not working quite so well if we add this, and we just get bored.
Yeah.
So we changed it as we went.
Yes, you can.
And then what we do is we triggered from that basic stem music, we then trigger effects using the Ableton system as well. And also we send out from my own computer via Logic out through the synths to do some treatments for the synths as I was explaining. And that's really it. So it's a very simple setup. Because when I first put it together, I wasn't really thinking about a tour. I was thinking about some promotional events where we would perform a bit of music or present a bit of music to go with that selected album. And it just turned into a tour. Suddenly, this is your stage show, you know, and I actually really didn't intend that. I think if I did another tour, I would probably do it a different way.
Yeah.
Just because one doesn't want to repeat himself.
Here's a question here. Years ago, you wrote an essay. Would you consider writing more? Maybe a book someday?
You know, I would like to write a book about, you know, what a music career I've had, and I think now, once you've got to the age I've got to, you've got enough to say, probably. For those that, not everyone's going to be interested, of course, but you know, there's a few stories to tell. So, but because I'm something of a control freak, I want to write it myself. I don't want some ghost writer coming in or do a 2-hour interview and that turns into a whole book, you know, which is what a lot of people do. And I get approached quite often from publishers and freelance journalists. Oh, come on, I want to do a book, you know. All we have to do is sit down for the afternoon, you tell me some stuff, dig out some other pictures, and we'll have a book, you know, and that's not how I would do it. You know me, everything I touch is like down to the details. So of course I would, if I do the book ever, I don't know if I will, I would probably spend a couple of years on it, and I'd just research every little detail, go back over every little interview, find every old photograph, and put it together like I'd put a record together.
Question in the front.
How this bit distribution in other ways than what we're doing now?
Well, at the moment we've set up some distribution by Alpha Matrix, and they're able to get the film into you know, Amazon shops and Amazon outlets and those kind of outlets in various different countries. Not every country. I'm not sure what we've set up in Denmark, for example.
But you can buy it tonight.
Oh, you can buy it tonight, yeah.
With Alan signing.
Look, she's never stops. You are a woman extraordinaire. Get your Blu-ray now. Distributing to places like South America, for example, is very difficult. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense because you have to sell it at such a low price. You can't really cover the costs. And, you know, I'm a small enterprise. I can't really do major distribution. And Blu-ray is also a specialist form that not everyone appreciates. So we're doing the best we can with the online version and, you know, some distribution in other countries.
You mentioned online version.
When I mean online version, I mean just the online version of selling them in the store, you know, for our own stores. And this distribution in films, that also sometimes, in cinemas, that also sometimes presents a problem because they need certain clearances as well to be able to just show any film. You can't just. So what you have to do is set them up as private screenings most of the time, and then you can kind of show pretty much what you want. But there are some cinemas we have to go in and get certain clearances. We tried to set one up in Spain recently. Oh, we cannot do it. We cannot show any film if you have not signed. You know, you've got to present it to the board of censors first. You know, and we gave up. Really, it was just too. It's a real shame because you just want to do stuff. You don't want all that bureaucracy going in the way. But most of the time, you know, we've been able to do it. We've got a few more to go. Jean's working on maybe some stuff in the States in January. You know, go over and do a few LAs and New York screening in Chicago maybe. You know, if we can get it going, I think we will. So, you know, getting it out there.
Thank you for a great
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
And your music, I'm very curious to know where do you get your inspiration from?
Oh,
Your music.
that's always the question that is just unanswerable. You don't know. Most of the time, I don't feel particularly inspired, but then the only thing I know is you have to put yourself into an environment where that can flourish. So you have to get into the studio, turn the gear on, start trying ideas, and then something just comes. And then there's usually you could spend days and days working, getting nowhere, and then one little spark, something just triggers something else. You're off. And you can't really say what that is. It's just, I trust my own instincts and react to what's coming back to me through the speakers, through any experiment I try, and hopefully that just leads on to the next thing. It's getting started is actually quite difficult.
Alan, what did you want to accomplish as a musician when you first started out?
I didn't really, when I first joined the band, Depeche Mode that is, I was 20 or 21. I knew I wanted to be a musician. I had a, unwavering desire to only do that. And I had been working in a recording studio and been in a few other bands. So I knew I had that desire and probably would have carried on in some way or other making music. But I had no idea of what it would really lead to, and I was just an excited young man who wanted to make music. And I've been very, very lucky in this business to still be able to do it. The legacy of the Mode career has meant I've been financially stable enough to sort of be able to fund a project like this, for example. It's not easy. It's not easy for any artist to survive, and I think in this industry, it's getting tougher and tougher. And it's a shame because we don't want to see creative people, ruled out of the game. Just say, oh, I cannot survive, I can't do this, I'm going to go and do something else. So the state of the industry is not helping artists, perhaps, but there are some who thrive through this adversity, who are able to put two fingers up to the record industry and just do things their own way, and that's actually quite a good thing. It's not for everyone, but it's, I think I'm more and more focusing, you asked about that essay, and if we call it an essay, open letter, or whatever. It suits me probably, because I am this kind of controlling one, I want to take command of every aspect. It kind of suits me that I think I've learned enough now about how to market and promote myself, and to utilise the support that I have, online support, all the forums, all the people that want to get involved, and be able to move forward as a musician and artist without necessarily needing a record. And I've had a good relationship with Mute over the years, but in this day and age, I'm not sure it makes so much sense. I can work a different way. But it's not for everyone. It takes up a lot of time that I should be in the studio making new music. So that's the downside.
And the future?
Well, the future is a little uncertain, partly because what I'm just talking about there, the album concept seems to be slowly dying away for people. Younger audiences cherry pick their music, they don't listen to whole albums anymore. So I have to kind of be aware of that as a musician and say, well, I've got to keep my mind open to how people want to receive music and listen to music. But I'm still going to do what I want to do, and I think my only plan is just to make some new music and not say, well, this is going to be an album, it's going to be this. I'll just make some new music. And if it gets applied to a film, if I meet a good director and I get more involved in soundtracks, then that's going to be great. If it doesn't, then it could be an album or it could be some other format. The important thing is just to make some new music. And it's all gone very quiet. Well, any questions anymore, or? Are you all bored? Okay. Well, all right. Well, we'll wrap that one up, and we are going to go over to the side now.
Yeah, and I just want to let you know that already, because there's a screening at 8, and because we didn't have so much time here today, it is Sunday and the place is closing down at 11. So we started to do the meet and greet already, but there's already a lot of people in line for the big screening that's coming, because we did the meet and greet. But what we're doing now is going to Rio, and everybody who wants to come and say hi to Alan and of course maybe buy the movie and have it signed, they can come over there and have pictures and autographs, etc. But
we'll do that for an hour now.
We're doing that now.
A little bit later on tonight as well, but not that late because we can't.
from 10.
So anyway, yeah, anyone who wants to come over, basically, come over.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay.